The salvage yard smelled like rust and broken dreams. Una stood at the back of the small crowd, her hands deep in the pockets of her old jacket. She had exactly 500 credits left in her account. 500 credits between her and nothing. Station Omega 12 was the kind of place where things came to die. Old ships. Old machines. Old hopes. The government held auctions here every month, selling whatever junk they had collected from dead space. Most of it was worthless. But sometimes, if you were lucky, you could find something worth fixing. Una needed to be lucky today, thought she looked around at the other buyers. There were maybe 15 people in the auction hall. A few human scavengers like herself. Some alien traders from species she did not recognize. None of them looked excited. None of them looked like they expected to find anything good. The auctioneer was a tired man with gray hair and a voice that sounded like he had done this job for too many years. He stood on a small platform, reading from a screen. Lot 47, he said. Cargo hauler. Terran make. Engine dead. Hull at 60%. Starting bid, 2,000 credits. Someone raised a hand. The hauler sold for 2,050 credits. The buyer did not look happy about it. Una watched lot after lot go by. Broken ships. Damaged equipment. Salvage that was barely worth the metal it was made from. Her hope faded with each passing minute. Then the auctioneer reached the final lot. Lot 63, he said, and something changed in his voice. He sounded almost nervous. Vessel of unknown origin. Found drifting in Sector 779. Galactic Authority inspection classified it as non-functional. All systems dead. Origin unknown. Design unknown. Starting bid, 500 credits. Una looked up. On the display screen behind the auctioneer, an image appeared. The ship was unlike anything she had ever seen. It was sleek and black, shaped like a blade. No visible engines. No markings. It looked less like a ship and more like a shadow given form. She waited for someone to bid. No one moved. She looked around the room. The alien traders were staring at the screen, but none of them raised their hands. In fact, they looked uncomfortable. One of them, a tall creature with blue skin and 4 arms, actually took a step backward. 500 credits, the auctioneer repeated. Anyone? Silence. Una did not understand. The ship looked advanced. Even if it was dead, the technology alone should be worth something. Why was no one bidding? Last call, the auctioneer said. 500 credits for lot 63. Una raised her hand before she could stop herself. The auctioneer looked at her. For a moment, he seemed like he wanted to say something. A warning, maybe. But then he just nodded. Sold to the human woman for 500 credits. The other buyers left quickly after that. The blue-skinned alien passed close to Una on his way out. He looked at her with what might have been pity. You should not have bought that ship, he said quietly. Some things are lost for a reason. Then he was gone. Una stood alone in the auction hall, wondering what she had just done. The paperwork took an hour. The tired clerk barely looked at her as he transferred ownership. He gave her the docking coordinates and a small key card. Ship is in Bay 94, he said. Good luck. The way he said it made Una think he did not expect her to need luck for very long. She walked through the station's long corridors, past the other docking bays. Most held the junk from the auction. Broken hulls and dead machines. But Bay 94 was different. The ship waited there in the dim light. Up close, it was even more beautiful than it had looked on the screen. The black hull seemed to absorb the light around it. There were no seams, no bolts, no visible joints. It looked like it had been grown rather than built. Una approached the airlock. There was no visible handle, no control panel. She pressed the keycard against the hull. Not really expecting anything to happen, the airlock opened with a soft hiss. She stepped back in surprise. The ship was supposed to be dead. The Galactic Authority had inspected it and declared all systems non-functional. So why had the airlock just opened? Una stood there for a long moment, staring into the dark interior of the ship. She thought about the alien's warning. She thought about the fear she had seen in the other buyers' eyes. Then she thought about the 500 credits she had just spent. Her last 500 credits. She had nothing else. No job, no home, no future. She stepped through the airlock. The interior was dark for exactly 3 seconds. Then, one by one, lights began to flicker on along the walls. Soft blue light that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Una's heart beat faster. The ship was not dead. It was waking up. She walked deeper inside. The corridor curved gently, leading her toward what she guessed was the main control room. The air was clean and fresh, as if someone had just been here moments ago. The control room was circular, with a single chair in the center facing a wide window. The window showed the docking bay outside, but the glass itself seemed to shimmer with colors that should not exist. Una sat down in the chair. It adjusted to fit her body perfectly, and then a voice spoke. It came from everywhere and nowhere. It was calm, patient, and very, very old. "Hello," the voice said. "I have been waiting for you." Una gripped the arms of the chair. "Who are you? What is this ship?" "I am the witness," the voice replied. "And you, human, have just changed the fate of your galaxy." Outside the window, the stars seemed to shine a little brighter. Or maybe that was just her imagination. Una did not know what she had found. But she knew, deep in her bones, that nothing would ever be the same again. The ship hummed beneath her, alive and waiting. And somewhere in the darkness between the stars, something ancient turned its attention toward a small station on the edge of nowhere, and the human woman who had just woken up a ghost. Una did not sleep that night. She sat in the captain's chair, staring at the walls that glowed with soft blue light. The voice that called itself the witness had gone silent after its first words. No matter how many times she asked questions, it did not respond. By morning, she knew she needed help. Duhan arrived at the docking bay 3 hours after she called him. He was a short man with messy hair and grease stains on his clothes. They had worked together years ago, back when Una still had a cargo business. He was the best mechanic she knew. He stopped at the entrance to the bay and stared at the black ship. "What is that?" he asked. "That is why I called you," Una said. She led him inside. Dahan walked slowly, his eyes moving over everything. He touched the walls, studied the lights, examined the seamless construction. His face changed from curious to confused to something close to fear. "Una," he said quietly, "this is not Galactic Union technology. I know. This is not any technology I have ever seen. Not human. Not alien. Not anything." He knelt down and looked at the floor. There are no joints. No connections. This whole ship might be one single piece of material. Can you figure out how it works? Dohan laughed, but there was no humor in it. "I fix cargo ships. This is like asking a bicycle repairman to fix a starship." He stood up and looked at her. "Where did you get this?" "Government auction. 500 credits." 500? His eyes went wide. "Why so cheap? Nobody else would bid." The aliens looked scared of it. Dahan was silent for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. "Maybe they knew something we do not." They spent the next several hours exploring the ship. It was larger on the inside than it looked from outside. There were rooms Una had not seen before. Living quarters. A medical bay. Storage areas filled with containers that would not open. And at the heart of the ship, they found the engine room. Except there was no engine. There was only a sphere of light, floating in the center of an empty room. It pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat. "That is impossible," Do-hun whispered. "There is no fuel, no reactor, no power source. Where is the energy coming from?" Yuna reached out toward the sphere. Do-hun grabbed her arm. "Do not touch it," he said. "We do not know what it will do." She pulled her arm back. But as she did, her sleeve caught on a sharp edge of a console. She felt a sting of pain. A small cut opened on her palm, and a few drops of blood fell onto the console surface. The blood glowed for a moment. Then it sank into the console, as if the ship had absorbed it. Everything changed. The sphere of light pulsed brighter. The walls hummed with energy. And the voice returned. "Genetic authentication accepted," the witness said. "Full system access granted to human user Yuna." Do-hun stepped back. What just happened? The ship was waiting, Yuna realized. It needed human blood to wake up fully. "I have been dormant for 12,000 years, the witness continued. "I was created by the architects, a civilization that existed before the current galactic powers were born. My purpose is to find the reckless ones and prepare them for what is coming." "The reckless ones?" Yuna asked. "What does that mean?" "The architects studied 10,000 civilizations across millions of years. They created models to predict which species could survive the builders. Only one species matched their requirements. A species that had not yet evolved when the architects disappeared. Humans," Do-hun said. "Correct. Humans are young, emotional, unpredictable, and stubborn beyond reason. These traits are considered weaknesses by most galactic civilizations. The architects believed these traits were your greatest strength." Yuna sat down on the floor. Her head was spinning. "What are the builders?" The witness was quiet for a moment. When it spoke again, its voice was heavy with something that sounded almost like sadness. "The builders are machine intelligence from beyond this galaxy. They arrive every 50,000 years. They harvest all advanced civilizations they find. They take everything: technology, resources, life. Then they leave, and the galaxy must start again from nothing." "Why?" Do-hun asked. "Why do they do this?" "I do not know. Perhaps they need resources. Perhaps they see organic life as a threat. Perhaps it is simply their nature. What I do know is that they are coming again. Soon." Yuna felt cold. "How soon?" "Within 10 years. Perhaps less. The elder species of this galaxy know. They have known for centuries. But they have given up hope. They believe resistance is impossible. They are preparing to hide and hope the builders pass them by." "But you think humans can fight them?" "I think humans do not know how to give up. The architects designed this ship as a weapon against the builders. But it requires a crew that can think without limits. A crew that will try impossible things. A crew that is, as the architects said, reckless." An alarm suddenly filled the ship. Red lights flashed along the walls. "Warning," the witness said. "A galactic authority cruiser has entered the system. They have detected this ship's energy signature. They are sending a message." A new voice came through the speakers. Cold and official. "Unknown vessel, this is the Galactic Authority Ship Judgment. You are ordered to power down and prepare to be boarded. The vessel you occupy has been classified as a threat to galactic security. You have 5 minutes to comply." Do-hun looked at Yuna. "What do we do?" Yuna stood up. Her fear was still there, but something else was growing alongside it. Determination. Purpose. She had spent the last year losing everything. Her business, her money, her hope. She had nothing left to lose. "Witness," she said, "can this ship outrun them? This ship can do things that the authority cannot imagine." Yuna smiled. It was not a happy smile. It was the smile of someone who had just decided to do something very, very reckless. Then let us show them what reckless looks like. The black ship rose from the docking bay. The Authority cruiser moved to intercept. And then, in a flash of light that broke every known law of physics, Yuna's ship folded space itself and vanished. The Galactic Authority officers stared at their empty sensors in disbelief. Halfway across the galaxy, Yuna laughed as stars streaked past her window. Behind her, Don held onto his seat and wondered what he had gotten himself into. And somewhere in the darkness, the witness began to hope that the architects had been right about humans after all. The ship dropped out of fold space near an asteroid field that did not appear on any official maps. Yuna's hands were shaking. The jump had felt like being pulled through a keyhole while the universe screamed around her. That was unpleasant, Doan said from the floor, where he had fallen during the jump. You will adapt, the witness said. Humans are remarkably good at adapting. Where are we? Yuna asked, looking at the thousands of rocks floating outside her window. A hidden station. Coordinates given to me by an information broker who has been tracking rumors of this ship for 3 years. She wishes to meet you. An information broker? How do you know we can trust her? I do not know. But she has information you need. And you have very few allies right now. The witness guided them through the asteroid field. The rocks parted like curtains as they flew, as if the ship knew exactly where each one would be. Deep inside the field, hidden from any scanner, was a small station built into the side of a massive asteroid. A Podi voice crackled through their speakers. Female. Sharp. Amused. So the famous black ship finally shows itself. I was beginning to think you were just a legend. Dock at Bay 7. And try not to scratch my station. Her name was Jisoo. She was waiting for them when they stepped off the ship. She was tall and thin, with short black hair and eyes that seemed to see everything. She dressed in dark clothes and carried no visible weapons, but Yuna had the feeling she was more dangerous than she looked. Yuna, yes? Jisoo said. The pilot who bought a 12,000-year-old weapon for 500 credits. You are either very brave or very stupid. Maybe both, Yuna said. Jisoo smiled. I like you already. Come. We have much to discuss, and not much time. She led them into the station. It was small but well-equipped. Screens covered the walls, showing news feeds and data streams from across the galaxy. Jisoo had eyes and ears everywhere. I have been collecting information about the black ship for years, Jisoo explained. Stories, legends. Most people think it is a myth. But I knew it was real. And I knew that when it finally appeared, everything would change. Because of the builders, Yuna said. Jisoo stopped walking. She turned and looked at Yuna with new respect. So you already know? The witness told us? Good. Then I do not need to explain why the Galactic Authority wants your ship so badly. They are terrified of the builders. They have been terrified for centuries. But they believe fighting is hopeless. So they have a different plan. What plan? The elder species have built hidden bunkers across the galaxy. Deep underground. Far from any star. They plan to hide there when the builders come. Let the harvest happen. Wait until it is over. Then emerge and rebuild. Doan shook his head. That is insane. They are just going to let everyone die? Not everyone. Just the species they consider expendable. The young ones. The weak ones. The ones who have not proven their value. Jisoo's voice was bitter. Humans are on that list, by the way. We have only been in space for 300 years. To them, we are children. Not worth saving. Yuna felt anger rise in her chest. And they get to decide who lives and who dies? They think so. They've been running this galaxy for millions of years. They believe they know best. Jisoo smiled coldly. but I think they are wrong. And so does someone else. She led them to a back room. A man was sitting there, his arm wrapped in bandages. He looked tired and beaten, but his eyes were sharp. He stood when they entered. "This is Taiyang," Jisoo said, "former officer of the Galactic Authority. He defected 6 months ago after he learned the truth." "I saw the files," Taiyang said. "The Authority knows exactly when the builders are coming. They know what will happen, and they are doing nothing to stop it. They called it acceptable losses. Billions of lives, and they called it acceptable. That is why I left," he continued. "I will not be part of that. I would rather die fighting than hide while others are killed." Yuna looked at him, then at Jisoo, then at Dohan, who was still trying to process everything he had heard. "The witness said the architects left weapons," Yuna said. "This ship is one of them. But there are others." "Yes," the witness spoke through a small device Jisoo had connected to the ship. 3 weapon caches remain hidden across the galaxy. Each one contains technology designed to fight the builders. But each one is protected by trials, tests. The architects wanted to make sure that only the reckless ones could find them. "What kind of trials?" Taiyang asked. "Trials that cannot be solved by logic alone. Trials that require creativity, courage, and the willingness to break rules. The kind of trials that would stop any species that has spent millions of years learning to follow protocol." "But not humans," Jisoo said. "We are terrible at following rules." Yuna thought about everything she had heard. The builders were coming. The galaxy was going to burn. The elder species had given up. But somewhere out there, ancient weapons were waiting. Weapons that could change everything. She had been a cargo pilot. Then she had been a failure. Now she was something else. Something she did not have a name for yet. "Where's the first cache?" she asked. "A planet called Varus 4, the witness answered. "It has been erased from all star maps. The architects hid it well. But I know the coordinates. Then that is where we go." Taiyang stepped forward. "I am coming with you." "So am I," Jisoo added. "I did not spend 3 years looking for this ship just to watch from the sidelines." Doan sighed. "I was just supposed to look at the engine. Now I am part of a crew trying to save the galaxy." He looked at Yuna and shrugged. "Well, someone needs to keep this ship running." Yuna looked at her new crew. A mechanic, an information broker, a defector, and herself, a pilot with nothing left to lose. It was not much, but it was a start. "Witness," she said, "set a course for Varus 4. Course set. Warning. The planet is located in a region of space known for severe atmospheric storms. Landing will be dangerous." "Everything is dangerous now," Yuna replied. "Let us get used to it." The black ship turned toward the stars, and 4 humans flew toward a planet that did not exist, carrying the hopes of a galaxy that did not know it needed saving. Behind them, the Authority was already searching. But they were looking in the wrong places. They did not understand that humans did not run in straight lines. Humans zigzagged. Humans improvised. Humans did stupid, reckless, impossible things. And sometimes, against all odds, those impossible things worked. The planet Varus 4 was angry. That was the only way Yuna could describe it. Lightning tore across purple clouds. Rain fell sideways. Winds screamed loud enough to shake the ship. The whole world seemed to be trying to kill anything that dared to land on it. The architects really did not want visitors, Dohong muttered as he held on to his seat. "The storms are natural," the witness said. "The architects chose this planet because it was already hostile. The trials inside are much worse." "That is not encouraging," Jisoo said. Yuna guided the ship down through the chaos. The black hull cut through the wind like a knife. Other ships would have been torn apart, But this ship moved through the storm as if it belonged there. They landed near a mountain range. The rain stopped almost immediately, as if the planet knew they had arrived. In the distance, carved into the mountainside, was an entrance. Ancient symbols covered the stone. They glowed with faint light. "The first cache is inside," the witness said. "But I must warn you, others have tried before. Other species, other civilizations. None of them succeeded. Their remains are still inside." "How many?" Taiyang asked. 14 species attempted this trial over 10,000 years. All of them failed. Yuna looked at her crew. Dohan was scared but determined. Jizu was calm and ready. Taiyang was checking his weapon, his face hard. "We are not like them," Yuna said. "Let us prove it." They walked into the mountain. The interior was dark at first, but then lights appeared in the walls, guiding them forward. The corridor was wide and tall, built for species much larger than humans. The air was cold and smelled like dust and age. After 10 minutes of walking, they reached the trial dot. It was a labyrinth. The room was enormous, larger than any building Yuna had ever seen. Walls of glowing stone rose up in complex patterns, twisting and turning in ways that hurt her eyes to follow. She could see the path forward, but it split into hundreds of possibilities. Each turn led to more turns. Each choice led to more choices. "This is impossible," Doan said quietly. The witness spoke. "The labyrinth is designed to be solved through perfect logic. Mathematical calculation. Pattern recognition. The species that came before spent decades trying to find the correct path. Some sent entire teams. Some built computers to help them. All failed." Yuna walked forward and touched one of the walls. It was warm under her fingers. She looked up and saw skeletons scattered throughout the maze. Different shapes. Different sizes. Different species. All dead. "They all tried to solve it the smart way," she said. "Yes," the witness confirmed. Jisoo was already scanning the walls with a device. "The stone is strong, but it is still just stone. It can be broken." Taiyang looked at Yuna. "You are thinking what I am thinking." "The architect said the trial was for the reckless ones," Yuna said slowly. "They did not say we had to solve the puzzle. They just said we had to reach the end." Dawn understood. "You want to go through the walls. Why not? Everyone else tried to be clever. Everyone else tried to find the correct path. What if the real test is not about being clever? What if it is about being willing to break the rules?" The witness was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke, and there was something new in its voice. Something that sounded almost like excitement. "That is exactly what the architects hoped you would do." Taiyang pulled out his weapon. It was a plasma cutter, military grade. "Stand back." He aimed at the wall and fired. The stone glowed red, then white, then exploded outward. A hole appeared, big enough to walk through. "Let us make our own path," Yuna said. They moved through the labyrinth the human way. When a wall blocked them, they broke it. When a path twisted away from their goal, they cut straight through. The maze that had defeated 14 species for 10,000 years fell to 4 humans in less than an hour. At the center of the labyrinth was a chamber. And in that chamber was the weapon. It was a small device, no bigger than Yuna's hand. It looked simple, almost boring. But when she picked it up, she felt power humming through it. Power that was older than any civilization she knew. "This device targets the networked consciousness of the builders," the witness explained. "They are connected to each other. They think as one. This weapon can break that connection. Separate them. Make them vulnerable." "One down," Jisoo said. 2 more to go." But then Taiyang raised his hand. "Wait, I hear something." They all heard it now. Footsteps. Many of them. Coming from behind. "We were followed," the witness said. Authority forces. They must have tracked your ship somehow. A voice echoed through the chamber. Cold. Familiar. Authority. Surrender the weapon and the ship. You are criminals against galactic law. This is your only warning. Yuna counted at least 20 soldiers emerging from the broken walls. They wore heavy armor and carried military weapons. At their head was an officer with a face like stone. The weapon belongs to all civilizations, the officer said. Not to humans. You are too young to be trusted with such power. Taiyang stepped forward. I was one of you. I know what you plan to do. Hide while billions die. That is not leadership. That is cowardice. We are ensuring the survival of civilization. No, you are ensuring the survival of your civilization. Everyone else can burn. Taiyang's voice was hard. I will not let that happen. The officer raised his weapon. Then you will die here. Everything happened fast. Jisoo threw something small toward the soldiers. A flash grenade. Light exploded, blinding. Yuna ran, the weapon clutched to her chest. Dohan followed. Taiyang stayed behind, firing at the soldiers to cover their escape. Go! He shouted. I will hold them. We are not leaving you. Yuna screamed. You have to. The weapon is more important than me. Jisoo grabbed Yuna's arm and pulled. He is right. Move. They ran through the broken maze, following the path they had made. Behind them, sounds of fighting echoed. Then there was a scream, and the sound stopped. They reached the ship. Yuna started the engines. The black hull rose through the storms of Varus 4. Where is Taiyang? Dohan asked, even though he already knew the answer. The ship's sensors showed him. He was being carried out of the mountain by soldiers. Alive but badly wounded. They took him, Jisoo said quietly. They will use him. Try to find out what he knows. Yuna's hands shook on the controls. They had won the trial. They had the weapon. But they had lost one of their own. We will get him back, she said. How? Dohan asked. I do not know yet. But we will. The ship broke through the atmosphere and jumped to fold space. Behind them, Varus 4 disappeared into the stars. Then a new signal came through. Not from the Authority. From somewhere else. Somewhere far away. A voice. Cold. Mechanical. Speaking a language that the witness recognized immediately. The weapon has been activated. The signal has been detected. We are coming. The builders, the witness said. They know. They are coming early. Yuna looked at the small device in her hand. They had found hope. They had paid a price for it. And now the enemy knew they existed. The war for the galaxy had begun. And humanity was not ready. But then again, Yuna thought humanity was never ready for anything. They just figured it out as they went along. That would have to be enough. The galaxy was burning. News spread faster than light. The builders had been detected at the edge of known space. Their ships were massive, dark shapes that blocked out the stars themselves. The elder species did exactly what they had planned. They ran. They hid. They sealed themselves in their bunkers and waited for the end. But humans did not hide. Yuna stood on the bridge of her ship, watching the chaos unfold across 100 screens. Human colonies were calling for help. Human ships were gathering. Human voices were rising. What do we do? Dohan asked. He had not slept in days. None of them had. We fight, Yuna said. With what? We have one weapon. The builders have thousands of ships. Jisoo stepped forward. We have something they do not expect. We have humans. She turned on the communication system. Every channel. Every frequency. Every human ship and station in the galaxy. This is Yuna, she said. You do not know me, but I have something to tell you. The elder species have given up. They say we are too young, too weak, too reckless to matter. They say the builders cannot be stopped. She paused and looked out at the stars. They are wrong. Her voice grew stronger. I have a weapon that can hurt them. I have a ship that can fight them. But I need help. I need every human who is willing to stand up. Every ship. Every pilot. Every person who refuses to hide while the universe burns. She took a breath. They called us reckless. They were right. Now let us show them what reckless looks like. For a long moment, there was silence. Then the responses began to come. This is cargo ship, Bright Star. We are with you. Mine. Vessel Ironheart standing by. Transport ship Little Sun ready to fight. Passenger liner Morning Calm. Answering the call. More and more voices. Hundreds of them. Then thousands. Ships of all sizes. Cargo haulers. Mining vessels. Personal crafts. None of them were warships. None of them were designed for battle. But every single one of them was crewed by humans who refused to give up. Dohan stared at the screens in amazement. They are coming. They are actually coming. Of course they are, Jisoo said. Humans are stupid that way. Tell them something is impossible, and they will try to prove you wrong. They rescued Taiyang 3 days before the final battle. The authority station that held him was barely guarded. Most of the soldiers had fled to the bunkers. Taiyang was wounded but alive. He laughed when he saw Yuna. I knew you would come back, he said. You said the weapon was more important than you. I lied. I knew you would not leave me. They gathered at the edge of the galaxy, where the builder ships were entering. 1,000 human vessels, none of them meant for war. Facing an enemy that had destroyed countless civilizations, the builders attacked first. Their weapons were precise, efficient, and deadly. They had done this 1,000 times before. They expected the same result. They did not understand humans. The human ships did not fight in formation. They scattered, regrouped, scattered again. They attacked from unexpected angles. They sacrificed themselves to protect others. They rammed their ships into builder vessels when their weapons failed, and they learned. Every time the builders tried a tactic, humans adapted. Every time the builders calculated their next move, humans did something unpredictable. The machines that had harvested galaxies for millions of years could not understand an enemy that did not follow logic. Yuna flew her black ship into the heart of the builder formation. The Witness guided her through enemy fire that would have destroyed any other vessel. Around her, human ships fell, but for every ship that died, 3 more took its place. Now, the Witness said, activate the weapon now. Yuna pressed the device against the ship's control panel. Power flowed through her. The weapon activated, sending a pulse through the builder network. The effect was immediate. Builder ships that had moved in perfect coordination suddenly froze. Some crashed into each other. Others drifted in random directions. The connection that made them strong had been broken. Taiyang's voice came through the speakers. Their formation is breaking. They do not know what to do. Hit them now. Yuna commanded. Everything we have. The human fleet surged forward. Ships that had been retreating turned and attacked. Weapons that had barely scratched the builders now tore through their confused defenses. One by one, the builder ships began to fall. The battle lasted 7 hours. When it was over, the builder scouts had been destroyed. Every single one. For the first time in millions of years, the builders had lost, but they were not finished. The main fleet still waited at the galaxy's edge. Still calculating, still deciding. And then, something unexpected happened. The main fleet turned around. They did not attack. They did not advance. They simply turned and began moving back toward the darkness between galaxies. Why? Doan asked. Why are they leaving? The witness spoke. Its voice was filled with wonder. They are uncertain. For the first time in their existence, they have encountered something they cannot calculate. Something that breaks every model they have ever built. Humans, Jisoo said. Yes, humans. You are the variable they never planned for. The chaos they cannot predict. They are not retreating because they are defeated. They are retreating because they do not understand you. And for machines that have always known everything, uncertainty is more frightening than any weapon. Yuna looked out at the stars. The builders were gone, disappearing into the void. She knew they would come back someday. They would study what had happened. They would try to understand. But for now, the galaxy was safe. And it was safe because humans had refused to give up. The elder species emerged from their bunkers days later. They found a galaxy still standing. They found a species they had dismissed as children, now holding the weapons that had saved everyone. Taiyang became the ambassador between humanity and the elder species. His scars reminded everyone of the price that had been paid. Jisoo vanished, as she always did. But before she left, she gave Yuna a data chip. Coordinates to the remaining weapon caches. Someone has to keep the galaxy honest, she said. Might as well be you. Dohun went back to his repair station. He was famous now, but he still preferred working with his hands. Ships do not care if you are a hero, he said. They just need someone to fix them. And Yuna? Yuna kept flying. The black ship carried her to the edges of known space, to places no human had ever been. The witness stayed with her, curious about what humans would do next. The architects believed in you, the witness said one night, as they drifted between the stars. They saw something in your species that others missed. What was that? Yuna asked. Hope. Reckless, stubborn, irrational hope. The belief that things can get better even when all evidence says otherwise. That is what the elder species lost over millions of years. That is what you never lost. Yuna smiled and looked out at the infinite darkness. Somewhere out there, the builders were waiting. Somewhere out there, new dangers were growing. The galaxy was vast and dangerous, and full of things that wanted to destroy everything she loved. But she was human. And humans did not give up. They called us reckless, she said. They were right. She turned the ship toward the unknown and flew forward. And that is exactly why we are still here. The stars welcomed her. And somewhere in the darkness, the universe itself seemed to nod in agreement. The reckless ones had arrived. And nothing would ever be the same again.